Here we are. Welcome to the Associated Guests. I, as always, am your host, Alfie Animus, here at the Bear in Mind channel. This is a video I wasn't going to do until, as I said, unless one of the 2 or 3 people that I respect who put videos out that I usually cover put a video out on this, I'm not going to do one this weekend. I'm going to wait till all the evidence comes out, like I did with Renee Good for the most part. But here it is, Lord Nuxenor himself. And his take, I was surprised, was a little more like mine. So I'm definitely happy about that. But let's get into it, shall we? It's going to be a bit squeamish. Just please try to understand. Oh crap, I forgot to. No. Hold on just a second. I'm going to post something. Sorry, I was busy fussing with X. Give me just a second to post my links, y'all. Wait, what the hell? Why can I hear myself? Why can I hear myself? It feels like I'm mocking myself. It feels like I'm mocking myself. Okay. All right, so we're going to get into Lord Nuxenor right now.
Another day, another leftist fails the Darwin Awards. Lock in, boys and girls. Crazy ride today. Trigger warning, it's gonna get gory.
Hold on. Oh, I know what's happening. There it is. Okay. Okay, sorry. I had my kick popped up for some reason.
In general, if you run at ICE officers with a car, with a shovel, or trying to draw a weapon, whether it's justified or not, they might yoink you from this plane of existence. Just friendly advice from me to you. We're going to be looking at the situation that just went down that everybody's talking about. Unfortunately, my opinion is an unpopular opinion, which means it's definitely going to go over well in the, grand scheme of internet land. But fortunately, you're watching the only idiot on YouTube that literally doesn't care.
You're watching the other one right here, watching him who doesn't care. Just the facts here.
PR is a lie, and I'm just here to make fun of idiots in the name of God. So we're going to go through everything. We're going to go through
it's
all
not the name that's not what I'm doing it for, but...
crashing out. Moist Critical made a video. Hassan Piker made a video. Destiny is talking about now trying to kill people of the Trump administration because...
What? Destiny's talking about killing Trump supporters?
That apparently makes sense. All in all, lock in. This is going to be the only opinion of mine. This is going to be the only take this way on this situation. Okay, so this is what happened. All right, so it all happened. Minneapolis, Minnesota, the eye of the storm. They, sowed the wind, and now they are reaping the whirlwind. So just one block away from where Renee Good was committed suicide by cop and where George Floyd committed suicide by fentanyl, we have another individual that committed suicide by ICE, and it's honestly heartbreaking.
Hey, Outlandish, thanks, bub.
Not saying this to make fun of the guy.
I appreciate the engagement, but no thanks on the offer.
And it's honestly due to a lot of really bad decisions made by this retard.
Yes.
All right, anyway, so...
And again, for the most part, I don't blame a lot of these people. They're clearly a bunch of sheep who have been propped up by all kinds of mainstream media to believe all this nonsense is Gestapo tactics in Minnesota. While I don't like some of the tactics used by ICE, they wouldn't have to do a lot of things that they're doing if the government, especially the Minnesota government led by Tim Walz and people like Ilhan Omar, weren't kicking them up, making them seem like Gestapo when all they're doing is the same thing they're doing in every other state, just with not only no support from local PD, but clear and evident counter support, we'll say.
This is what went down.
Much, man, and they keep pushing people,
Right, so they have this guy on the ground. You can't really see what goes down.
Yeah, you can't really see it from this angle. And there are many angles of this, and more will come out, just like the Renee Good situation. Also, it's funny how when something like this happens in the midst of all these mobs of violent protesters or rioters, as it were, come out, there's multiple camera angles, almost like this is set up at a road that they blocked off a lot of traffic from. Real quick, if you will. Pretty sure this is that same block. Like they're literally blocking the road. They're making their own little retarded autonomous zone since this happened. This is, I think, the following day, right? Or this might be earlier that day. But this is what they're doing. They're trying to keep them, and again, they were trying to obtain another violent child sex predator. And this is what the reaction from the public is. They don't care what their reasoning is. They don't care what the crime of the illegal immigrant is. They only care that it's an illegal immigrant. Because no one's illegal, man. Did he just yell car like a bunch of fucking 90s teenagers were playing street hockey? Anyway, continuing.
Now, but they end up shooting him in the back several times, and he's dead. Now, I'm going to tell you my opinion.
Which is completely tragic and horrible.
Angles. Obviously, I can't show you the blood and gore on YouTube for obvious reasons. But from multiple angles, you have to understand what's going on. All right, so you got the freaks with the whistles. Classic.
Go.
All right. Obstructing justice, blocking roads, you know. Classic. Right, they're going to call him a legal observer.
So yeah, and these aren't even ICE. This isn't even ICE yet. Okay, this is just a normal person trying to get down the street, from what I can see so far. And Mr. Pretty here, standing in the middle of the road, blocking cars. Mind you, this is Minnesota like yesterday or the day before. And the roads are, while it's Minnesota, they're better at salting the roads than they are down here in the South. Still, this is Minnesota with the weather we're having right now. Who's to say if the car will stop when they hit their brakes?
For blocking the road. By the way, this is a crime. It's illegal. You should go to jail, in my opinion.
No. And 100%. These people who are blocking roads and causing and committing crimes should go to jail, but their government will not arrest them. And matter of fact, they encourage this shit. This isn't hanging out on the sidewalk, and this is, yes, if this was any other city, they would be getting disturbing the peace, so to speak.
Wrong with you?
And as you can see,
Okay, we skipped ahead a little bit.
over here, ICE is trying to move them out of the road, which is, you know,
And I will say, a little bit of a dick move, him pushing, I think that's a lady here.
appropriate. They're trying to
Push her
arrest
out of the
a
road,
pedophile
which,
right now,
you
by
know.
the way, you may not be aware of this.
Also
they are
true.
currently en route to arrest a pedophile, and they are being blocked by retards.
Yes.
All right, so they're moving them out of the road. They're pepper spraying them.
And then he falls over the lady, and he's blinded by pepper spray, and I think he swings on her once because he's confused and disoriented from the pepper spray, thinking that she's ice.
This dude tackles this woman. Some people are saying he tried to save her. Some people are saying that appropriate. They're trying to arrest a pet.
With you?
Okay, let's rewind a little bit.
As you can see, over here,
Yeah, she gets pushed out of the way. He steps
ICE is
in,
trying to move them out of the
again,
road.
right here, attacking a police officer right there. Right there, that's done. It's super dumb. Look, and people are comparing this to Kyle Rittenhouse, okay? And this is my biggest thing on that. Kyle Rittenhouse, let's see if I have it here. I just saved it real quick. And look, I know a lot of you are Stephen Miller fans, but to me, Stephen Miller looks like, again, French Stewart auditioning for the role of Dr. Evil in Austin Powers. But, oh yeah. Okay. A lot of people are posting this retarded shit. Reminder that Kyle Rittenhouse, that Kyle Rittenhouse showed up to protests like this, and Republicans called him a hero. Two things. One, Kyle Rittenhouse was not a hero. Okay. I will say he showed a lot of restraint. He didn't pull the trigger on anyone who wasn't actively attacking him, yelling that they were going to kill him. If you watched the video at all, you would know that. But if you're someone who, and a lot of these people who are shitting on Kyle Rittenhouse are the same kind of people who will say, a lot of people who think he still killed 3 black people. One, he killed 2 people. He wounded another one. Another one lost his entire forearm. But Kyle Rittenhouse, no, while he's not a hero, he was just protecting his hometown. He was there with some friends of his, I think his friend and his friend's dad in a town that his father lived in. Barry, you need to watch the new Mario trailer. Oh, really? No, I saw that it was out this morning. I might hit it up after this. But biggest of all peak. All right, I'll check it out, Shapeshifter. But no, so these are not the same, okay? While, yes, he was armed, one, he was not there armed, ready to brandish his weapons against law enforcement. And yes, they are law enforcement. Lord Evil Sizer, how you doing? These are not the same, okay? Kyle Rittenhouse was there, and he also had a first aid pack, which you can still kind of see right here on his back. He was rendering first aid to protesters and counter-protesters alike. And he wasn't going around shooting people. The only time he had his gun like this was because if you've ever carried a rifle slinged across your chest, if you're standing still, you can just let it drape over your chest, and it'll be quite comfortable. But if you're running, it'll repeatedly hit you in the dick with either this or this, okay? These are not good things. But anyway, no, Kyle Rittenhouse and Mr. Pretty here are not the same. Yes, they were both demonstrating, and one was in Wisconsin. I think Kyle was in Wisconsin. This guy was in Minnesota. They have similar laws from my understanding, but still, they have open carry. But again, Kyle Rittenhouse, open carry there to protect and just hope his presence will be a deterrent, the same way that the National Guard is used as a deterrent to keep crime down in these cities, which has worked, by the way. But the other guy, he's carrying for the same purpose that I'm sure Nux will show later, a bunch of videos where people are actively calling for people to militarize and assault ICE officers. Okay? Look, I'm not the hugest fan of some of the things that ICE been doing, but I understand why they have to do it, especially in Minnesota, as opposed to other places.
Which is, appropriate. They're trying to arrest a pedophile right now, by the way.
Yes.
You may not be aware of this. They are currently en route to arrest a pedophile, and they are being...
But again, right here, this is the first time he's touched the ICE agent, getting him away from this lady, which I don't agree that the ICE agent pushed her. But again, she's in the road, and the road's well salted and mostly clear. You never know.
Blocked by retards. All right, so they're moving them out of the road. They're pepper spraying them. All right, so this dude tackles this woman.
He didn't tackle her. He clearly fell. But,
People are saying he tried to save her. Some people are saying that he was pepper sprayed and blinded. So he ended up thinking he thought it was an ICE agent. Regardless, they pulled him off of this woman, which also is appropriate.
Fuck people.
And as you can see, there's a whole kerfuffle. You can't really see what's going down.
I love
They
that
end up
word,
putting him on the
kerfuffle.
ground, and a second later, there's gunshots, and he's dead. And I can't show that on YouTube, obviously.
Which, again,
So
horribly
what
tragic
actually
that this guy
happened
died.
here is the question. The question is, what happened here? So as you can see, this dude seemingly on the ground. What's going on over here?
So allegedly, this guy, people are saying that he grabbed his weapon off of him.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's really hard to tell. Some people are saying it looked like he was trying to reach for a weapon. The reality is, it's just really shitty, bro. Like,
It really is.
Every single angle.
It's horrible.
It just looks awful. It's a nightmare that people are dying, and it's an even bigger nightmare that left.
And again, so far from what the evidence shows, I feel like the ICE officer was a little too quick to shoot him, especially, what was it, 3 times in the back, I want to say. But again, if the guy was reaching for a gun that you saw earlier but was allegedly taken off by the other gentleman, and with all the whistles being blown, it's hard to see if someone, or hear if someone yells, I got the gun, or anything like that. But that being said, let's continue.
Have to start telling people to keep fighting. New video footage emerged, appears to show 3 things we didn't know. This is the footage I just showed you, I think. It appears the new footage that the man was shot, assaulted a woman. That's what I showed you before. We don't know exactly.
Again, I don't think he assaulted a woman. I think it was just, like I said, a little slick, and he was sprayed with pepper spray, got discombobulated. And this is me saying this in favor of Pretty. I don't think that he thought he was on top of the woman at this point. I think that he thought he was on top of an ICE officer, which still doesn't make it right. But I don't think he was actually assaulting the woman, as people are trying to make it sound.
Exactly what happened. If you tried to save her, if you tried to hurt her, irrelevant. It's very clear
Yeah.
that the federal agent sees something that makes him quickly pull out his weapon. It is good that the man is still fighting and moving after we hear the first shot, which I...
And 100%. Look, if you are... if you're being detained or arrested by any police officer and you are legally open carrying or even concealed carrying, do not resist arrest, okay? The second they see that gun, that's going to shoot tensions way up high. And especially with all these TikTok videos and all these other YouTube shorts and all these other things coming out saying that people are wanting to arm up, and with the new Black Panther Party coming out with their with their very designer bulletproof vest with no plates in it, and no magazine clips or anything like that on it, which is just silly and performative. You can see that people are going to be on edge, and they've had to increase the number of ICE agents, not because they're out to get Minnesota per se, but because, one, this is all a smokescreen. As you notice, this is only happening to this level in Minnesota, where they are actively fighting back, and Tim Walz is stoking this. And then he'll show in here in a minute. 5 minutes later, Tim Walz will, or that might have been the other guy I watched, Decoy. I think it was Decoy Voice that said that, but I'll show that later if Next doesn't get to it.
Can't show you on YouTube. So
but yeah, Tim Walz will 1 second say, you know, we have to fight back, and then he says, hey, don't fight back. It's completely ridiculous, and he's doing this on purpose.
It was like it was the officer at this point in time. I'm just trying to be completely honest and upfront. I am honest media over here. I'm doing my absolute best. AP reports that the officer said boo-hoo in response to angry protesters after a 51-year-old man was shot and killed by federal officers in Minneapolis.
Who's the 51-year-old man? I'm not familiar with this one. If it's the AP, those are the guys that I'm trying to spoof here, kind of, with my name. They're awful, and they're basically just going from speculation and what people have said, not heard.
Not only did retard die trying to save a couple of pedophiles award, but also got hit with the Looney Tune ass death, hitting him with the boo-hoo after he was blown away. Now, to be clear, all right, I'm going to tell you what I think, and then we're going to get into everyone else's opinions and all the reactions and the crazy shit. What it seems like happened is there was a guy who was armed, who was obstructing justice, who was attacking a woman, who was resisting arrest,
He wasn't attacking a woman.
Fighting and wrestling against police officers.
He was doing all these other things, though.
Who was factually armed. This is an uncontroversial opinion. Everyone agrees with this, as you're going to see. Seemingly, he was disarmed, and then he was shot by a different police officer. It is unclear whether the other police officer knew he was disarmed or not. It is unclear. I'm waiting for more evidence to come out. Maybe.
And again, 3 shots to the back. A bit much.
Body cams or something, if they have body
cams. A lot
cams.
much.
So I understand these people are sitting there with a split-second reaction time between life and death in a violent mob. That is just a complete fact. However, it seems like it was not a justifiable act of self-defense.
And again, in this one, not really a violent mob unless there's a whole bunch of people on this side of the camera. But they're not in the midst of a violent mob. There's just kind of a bunch of annoying assholes blowing whistles on the sidewalk. So again, the hyperbole is a bit much, but I mean, we've seen how it's gotten, especially with that January 6th asshole who barely got out alive, who got stabbed. Not a fan of him, but again, I don't think that should have happened to him.
As opposed to the Renee Good instance where that lady was literally running over a cop with a car. So it does not seem like this is appropriate. That said, it was absolutely not premeditated murder or anything like that. It was a split-second decision, and in my opinion, seemed like a wrong call.
Yeah,
it
okay, see?
absolutely sucks that
And Nux is a big fan of ICE. He has called them death by cop, suicide by cop, on most of these cases. But the fact that he says that kind of speaks volumes. But again, wait for more information to come out to make doubly sure for these things.
that the leftoids are riling people up to attack ICE agents, obstruct justice,
Which is true.
the law, attack them, assault them, carry weapons where you threaten
Hurt them,
with
hurt them.
weapons, and then be like, oh my god, I can't believe the ICE agent made a mistake in a split-second opportunity. So, in this instance, where there's clearly a fog of war, alright, I don't know if the ICE officer knew that the guy, who he knew for a fact was armed, was already disarmed a moment prior.
Yeah.
The fact that it looked like he was reaching into his back pocket to potentially brandish his firearm.
And again, I'm completely here for your right to carry arms, especially if you're legally concealed or open carrying. But again, if you are carrying, especially legally, or even illegally, if you're carrying it all, whether it be legally or illegally, do not attack police officers and do not resist arrest. What the fuck are we even talking about?
I have no idea what was going through the guy's head at the time. However, it doesn't seem like, as an observer over here, knowing everything that I know, that it was a self-defense, the way self-defense is properly supposed to be utilized. But the actual absolute fact is that this motherfucker would not be dead if he didn't decide to resist arrest, if he didn't decide to show up here to stop ICE agents from doing their job to arrest a pedophile. If you didn't have governors and mayors all getting these people riled up to fight against legal law enforcement, if these ICE agents weren't constantly threatened, constantly attacked, constantly tried to get killed, there are multiple attempted murders against ICE agents. So while I'm not a fan that this dude pulled the trigger at that point, and I'm very upfront, I am super pro-ICE. I think every single illegal in the country needs to get deported, even though I think that ICE agents are human beings that definitely make mistakes.
They are, and yes, a lot of them, because you'll find this in the army and you know with the cops in these fucking protests, you will always find someone who wants to take it to the next level, someone who joined these things to take it to the next level. I was in aviation when I was in the military. Okay, there was someone who was in aviation who was ready to just blast somebody. To my response was just like, why didn't you join the Marines or the or join the infantry? You giant pussy.
This is a tragedy of the making of the leftoids, and there is zero doubt in my mind that if the left wouldn't be doing this bullshit about fighting ICE agents, that this dude wouldn't have been killed this day.
This is true.
Anyway,
100% true.
In conclusion, another suicide by cop ruled by Nuxanor.
And again,
Your chances
tragic.
of surviving increases dramatically if you don't try to stop law enforcement while armed and appear to be pulling a weapon out at an ICE officer.
And let's be real honest. The only reason that it's that much worse in Minnesota than it is in any other place where this is happening is because Tim Walz is trying to cover his ass by getting all these agitators out on the street. And a lot of these protests, especially in Minnesota, very well funded. Like, just look at the fact that the very next day after some of these things are happening, you will see mass-produced signs, and not something you can just make real quick with magic markers and some poster board and a stick. Okay, these are printed signs, and there's been all kinds of evidence to show that these are just out there waiting for these people when they get there.
It increases
The same way that the bricks and such were just laid out on the streets on pallets during the Summer of Love 2020.
your chance of living by an astronomical amount. That said, I do think there needs to be an investigation into this ICE officer if he actually acted appropriately. Quite frankly, he did seem a bit too trigger happy. Time to
Yes,
see what all
I
the
agree.
leftists that support Luigi Mangione and support the assassination of Charlie Kirk have to say about this. But first, this dude seemed to do a pretty good analysis, so I wanted to see that.
I watched multiple angles
as you
of
can
this
see.
incident. This ICE agent goes up, he disarms the person they're detaining. The rest don't see that. The rest don't know that this man's been disarmed. When he then reaches for a gun, there's nothing there. The others don't know that, and they actually shoot him. Just a few seconds after he was disarmed. But your man walked away, and I don't think he said anything.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we don't know. Ultimately, that's the fog of war.
And that looks like his holster. That looks like him taking it out of his holster. But
Tell you, I don't know what
Oh,
was in
thanks.
the mind of the officer that actually shot the guy. It's definitely not as clear-cut as, the fat lesbian that committed suicide by cop. So in this instance of suicide
not the way I would have phrased it, but again, not wholly inaccurate.
by cop, this retard thought he should go armed and obstruct, the Gestapo, as he calls them, and he thought nothing would happen to him.
Yeah.
Sorry, bro. These lefties...
Again, this is not the Gestapo. Let us compare this to what's happening in Iran right now, where people are shooting wildly, where police are shooting wildly into groups of protesters who are actually protesting an actual dictatorial regime that has been in place for 40 years. Okay? These things are not the same. That is not what we are going through here. And if you think so, you're delusional, and your delusions are of grandeur, okay? You are not a revolutionary. You're a whiny kid that was never told no, who has, again, delusions standing of grandeur.
Lefty jihadis are actually diabolical. So, of course, this is the left's response. Leave the immigrant child rapist alone. Fighting. This is the gun of the guy that was killed. It committed suicide by cop. At 9:05 a.m. CT, this is the Homeland Security. As DHS law enforcement officers were conducting a targeted operation in Minneapolis against an illegal alien wanted for violent assault, an individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. See here. The officers attempted to...
Again, and you'll see this on all sides, okay? The way they phrase it, they don't say whether it was holstered or in his hand. It was holstered. But that being said, don't approach or assault any kind of officer, whether it be federal, ICE, local, or even those little bitty sheriffs in small towns, okay? I don't care. Don't do it. But again, the way they worded here, they didn't say whether it was holstered or in his hand. It was holstered. Doesn't make it any more right, but that context does matter.
Disarmed the suspect, but the armed suspect violently resisted. More details on the armed struggle are forthcoming. Fearing for his life and the lives of the fellow officers, an agent fired defensive shots. Medic on the scene immediately delivered medical aid to the subject, who was pronounced dead at the scene. The suspect also had 2 magazines and no ID. Interesting.
And again, the fact that he had no ID on him, the fact that he had 2 magazines, okay? Look, carry all you want, whatever. But if you're carrying more than 1 magazine in a situation like this, I mean, it looks a little school shootery, but at the same time, some people just have it. Some people have holsters that have that extra spot, and they just keep it in there because they have it, whatever. So I'm not going to use that either way, but it definitely doesn't look good.
This looks like a situation where an individual wanted to do maximum damage and massacre law enforcement. About 200 rioters appeared at the scene, began to obstruct and assault law enforcement on the scene. Classic, domestic terrorist shit. Crowd control measures were deployed for the safety of the public and law enforcement. This situation is evolving. More information.
Okay. They might have broke it up just before this, or maybe those 200 rioters or whatever showed up after this. But again, the way they phrase this is this was all going on at the same time, and people will take that and say that they didn't see it in the video like this, so the government's lying, which they will always... Both sides do this. They will all lie in their side's favor, whoever's currently running said organization. The left media will always defend the left, and the right media will always defend the right. Or they will at least phrase the facts or speak the facts that help their side out, and they won't speak the other side that makes their side look bad. This is in almost every case. And if you argue that and say it's just the other side, let's be honest, you're part of the problem.
Completely honest with you, I don't think this is a completely accurate summary of events. It is true.
Thank you. Even Nook says it, and like I said, this guy, he's quite a bit more to the right than me. He's a religious Jew, quite openly so. I think he's got on him somewhere though, but he is highly entertaining and usually, as far as the facts go, highly accurate. Some of his takes are a little wilder than I would say. But again, not inaccurate.
Multiple mags. It is true that this guy was obviously a militant leftist. He was violent. He attacked ICE officers. He obstructed the law. All's true, all facts. I don't personally think this guy went out there with the intention of mass killing ICE officers.
No,
I
no,
just
definitely
personally
not.
doubt it, but we will never know.
He might have been ready to, but he wasn't out there just to do that.
You're not allowed to pull out a gun on
And those are not
I
the
know,
same
it's a
thing.
Controversial take, but anyway. So Donald Trump posted a tweet himself.
Okay, now let's wait and see how let's hear what Trump had to say about this, because on the Megan Good situation, I gotta say, he embellished quite a bit. Like, he made it sound like this chick mowed down that officer, and the officer was like on the hood or whatever. That's the way he made it sound. Again, the way you word things, especially when you're the head of an organization or the president of the United States, it's very, very important. Again, I don't care if you're left or right. Present everything in as neutral a stance as you can. The people who don't like you will still not care and say that you're a fascist, bigot, whatever. But at least you won't drive anyone else to their side or cause.
This is the gunman's gun loaded with 2 additional full magazines and ready to go. What is this all about? Good question. Where are the local police? Good question. Why weren't they...
Again, not 2 additional magazines, just 2 magazines. One already chambered and one was outside, as far as I'm aware.
allowed to protect ICE officers? Good question. The mayor and the governor called them off?
Yes.
Interesting. Call the insurrection.
And this is not speculation. This is not trumping. Okay, Walz and is it Frey or Fry? I don't care enough to remember. But the guy that won by by utilizing a clan war amongst the Somali peoples and won with the Somali report because of said clan feud. That's clan with the C, by the way. But yeah, they have both told the police to stand down and to not help the ICE agents, by the way, which is another reason why there's so much more violence allowed to go down in Minnesota and not anywhere else in the country so much.
Insurrection Act already. God damn, this is so much more of an insurrection than January 6th, bro. It is stated that many of these police officers
Again, not
had
untrue.
to do their jobs, that ICE had to protect themselves. Yeah, what's that all about? Not an easy thing to do. Why does Ilhan Omar have $34 million in her account? Where are the tens of billions of dollars that have been stolen for the once great state of Minnesota? We are there because of massive monetary fraud with billions of dollars missing, illegal criminals allowed to infiltrate the state through the Democrats' open border policy.
Again, wholly true. Probably not the place to say it, but wholly true. That is why there's the extra force there, because of the fraud going on, and the governor and the mayor are trying to cover said fraud, so they're telling police to stand down. So ICE will have to fend for themselves, and they know it'll cause all this chaos, and they do not care about you. They're putting you in the way. You are human shields to them, in a very similar way to what he's going to show next.
We want the money back. He's cooking. And we want it back now. Those fraudsters who stole the money are going to jail where they belong. There is no different than a really big bank robbery. Much of what you're witnessing is a cover-up for this theft and fraud. Interesting theory. The mayor and governor are inciting insurrection with their pompous, dangerous, and arrogant rhetoric, so call the Insurrection Act. Do it, bro! Call the Insurrection Act! Arrest these guys!
As much as I don't like things like the Insurrection Act, it may actually have to come to that before the end of this. And again, I hate when things like that happen. It's only happened a few times in my lifetime that I remember. I think once it almost happened during Hurricane Katrina, but they found some kind of much worse alternative so that they would both hold power, the governor and President Bush at the time. There was one during the LA riots in the 90s, and I think maybe one other time. But it's never great that has to happen, but you can't deny it's pretty damn effective.
You can capture Maduro in the middle of the night. You can't get Tim freaking fat-ass Walz, bro. Instead, these sanctimonious political fools should be looking for the billions of dollars that have been stolen from the people of Minnesota, the United States of America. Let our ICE patriots do their job. 12,000 illegal alien criminals, many of them violent, have been arrested and taken out of Minnesota. If they are if they were still there, you would see something far worse than what you were witnessing today. Fact check, true. So
Yes.
while it is true that a libtard committed suicide by ICE, I don't know if ultimately it was valid self-defense, if it wasn't valid self-defense. I'm admitting that I don't know the reality.
Yeah, so far it's hard to tell. I definitely agree with that, and I'm glad Nux has come to the same conclusion on this.
It definitely looks murky, and hey, if I could say that, then you could definitely subscribe, because this is a place where we do critical thinking and stuff. Yeah, I don't know if it was valid self-defense. I do know that this retard would not have been killed by this guy if he wouldn't decide to obstruct justice, if he wouldn't have tried to stop the law enforcement
Very
from doing
true.
their job, if he wouldn't have been violent, if he wouldn't have attacked
Very
ICE
sadly,
officers, if he wouldn't have
unfortunately
struggled,
true.
If he wouldn't have resisted arrest, if he wouldn't have decided, I don't know, to take a gun to protest ICE. This isn't about the Second Amendment, bro. I support the Second Amendment, but that doesn't mean...
And again, I'm sure he'll pull some of this up later, but yes, people are calling for violent action against ICE agents, calling them the Gestapo and all that. I don't think it's like that. Again, there's a few trigger-happy assholes, and I do not want them to stand for these people. I want them to see that it's happening, think about their personality. Everyone knows in a lot of these groups, if there is one in said military or cop or whatever law enforcement group, everyone knows who that is. It's old Mike over there.
You should be able to pull out guns at ICE officers. I think that's pretty obvious, right? You get these retards posting TikToks all the time. We're gonna go out, we're gonna kill ICE officers, and they show up to confront ICE officers holding a weapon. But you don't think that ICE is gonna consider that a threat? And yes, I think a major reason why there is all this hullabaloo in Minnesota specifically is because they are covering up billions of dollars of fraud.
Yes.
Which is why I think that the moment they're going to start investigating California fraud, California's going to start rioting. They're going to start investigating Illinois fraud. Illinois is going to start rioting. And
No, and I completely agree. Once they get everything taken care of in Minnesota, if they even get to, because again, this is going to be an election year, so we'll see how everyone goes. Apparently, your side's only allowed to be violent if you're on one side of things and not the other. And again, while I don't stand with conservatives, I think some people are overly violent and the other side are gigantic pussies. Well, actually, there's a lot of that on both sides. But anyway.
the absolute retard NPCs in the Democrat Party that are completely and utterly programmed by their retard overlords. They're just gonna keep bumbling around, bumping into walls, fucking fumbling through life, trying to figure out how they should find meaning in different places. Well, actually, I don't think having children is fulfilling. Actually, I also don't believe in God. Also,
Okay, he's going on a bit of tangent.
Illegals were deported from Texas and from Minneapolis. So why do you think Minneapolis is all up in arms and not Texas? It's because it's a gigantic, fomented, in my opinion, insurrection against the government to cover up a couple of rich-ass politicians doing fraud. The wheels of justice turn slowly, but these motherfuckers will be in jail. You'll see, you'll see. I'm an optimist, but I'm also usually right. So anyway...
And look, when it comes to Walz, I don't know whether he's just a retard and didn't know that this shit was going on in his backyard, or if he's complicit, if he was getting, someone has stolen him a few racks here and there. But from what a lot of other politicians in Minnesota are saying, mostly Republican, but a couple of Democrats have stepped forward, he knew about this shit, and it's been brought to his attention, okay? He's at least in some way complicit. Or... again, he's doing the thing where he's turning the other way because he doesn't want to be seen as a racist for taking down a Somali crime ring. But he's more than likely complicit. But then again, if you've ever heard him talk, I can see him being so retarded that I just didn't notice that $9 billion was being taken out of the budget and sent to half of it's into Somalia and half of it's sent to my bank account.
Hey, moving on. J.D. Vance said when I visited Minnesota that what ICE agents wanted more than anything was to work with local law enforcement so that situations on the ground didn't get out of hand. The local leadership in Minnesota has so far refused to answer those requests.
Yeah.
So here we have ICE agents being like, hey, our job is to deport illegals. Your job, local law enforcement, is to prevent local people from committing crimes. You know, crimes like, trying to murder ICE agents, as an example. So if you would focus on that, we would focus on our job.
Or, at the very least, standing in the middle of the fucking road, blocking off roadways with with dumpsters and debris and all kinds of other shit that they've just pulled from around. They're literally, and from what I've heard over the last day, is that they're trying to make another autonomous zone, just like the one that was in Seattle. Was it almost 6 years ago now.
thing, and this would all be done. Instead, the local law enforcement has their hands tied by the retards in the government that are telling them, no, actually, you're not allowed to help ICE. You're supposed to fight against ICE, if anything. And big shock. You have the militant retards on the streets committing suicide by cop. It's tragic. This is happening. It's unbelievable. These people are so manipulated. Let's set the record straight. It appears an ICE agent disarmed the guy who was legally carrying. ICE agent yelled, gun, gun, gun. He got up and raised his arm, and they fired until the threat was down. It appears like an accident. He probably didn't have his firearm when they shot him, but they didn't know that. I am an avid supporter of 2A, but when you troll, taunt, stalk federal agents, these accidents can happen.
Yeah.
It's sad that he's dead. It's his fault for creating the situation, and the same applies to the good lady. Democrats want the media encouraging this behavior is solely because they want death and tragedy. I completely agree with this. Absolutely. I 100% think so. I think
This is what they want. The media wants it for ratings, and the government wants it to take people's minds off of other things. 100%. They don't care. They don't care about you.
that they absolutely want. The more innocent-ish people that are killed by ICE agents, the better for the left. And the crazy thing is, people are starting to notice it. Suicide by ICE is basically the Dem version of jihad, and it's so true.
Okay, here's the video I was hoping he would play.
Right? This is actual Hamas terrorist, all right, loading a rocket that he's planning on firing into Israeli cities, and he literally puts a whole bunch of kids behind the rocket, so that when Israel inevitably retaliates,
Let's see what he
blows
and
up the,
little young
basically
Jackson 5
firing
Michael
rockets
Jackson
into
has to say.
Israeli cities, it will have these children as casualties. And that is the goal. The goal is the child casualties to use their corpses as a twisted propaganda machine to fight against the people with actual power.
Report, okay? So can everyone see? Okay, great. Let's play it. What is he doing right now, by the way?
He's dropping a rocket into a yeah.
Okay, he's loading it. Okay, where are the children?
They're positioned in the weird way behind the rocket.
Yeah, weird, huh?
Okay, great. Now, if you were a combatant, and let's say these are your children, or your cousin's children, or your brother's children, would you make sure those kids run inside or run away before you do this?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, great. So why isn't he doing that?
Who knows?
Who knows?
No, because they want them there.
So he runs away, and where are the kids?
They're what, maybe 40, 50 feet away?
The
They're
kids
10
are
feet away.
No, it's like 15, 20 feet. It's not 10 or it's not 40.
Typically, when kids see adults run, especially very rapidly and quick like that, they would also run. These kids are being told to stay stationary, dude.
Yeah, but for what purpose? Like
For human
what,
shields!
Human
Come on,
shields,
uses
you
human
asshole.
There it is.
Yeah.
Suicide by ICE is just Democrat jihad, all right? And the sooner you notice
Pretty much.
exactly what's going
And Hamas was very much known for doing this kind of thing in Palestine. They would shoot a rocket from this little town square and just huddle a bunch of kids there. That way, if Israel or whatever retaliated on the spot that the rocket came from, because you can always graph the trajectory, they would find a bunch of dead kids there. Eventually, Israel finally got smart and stopped firing immediately back exactly where these things were shot from. But again, it takes a couple of times to get to that.
on, the better it'll be.
horrible.
The leftoids do not give a shit. That's why they're importing so many violent people. They're literally importing an entire underclass of violent rapists, okay? All right? They show up in our country. They're raping people all over the place. Sorry if I'm getting a little graphic. I'm saving some nukes for an upcoming video, but just like as a, slight spoilers in case you were curious, dude. All right? This is a 20-year-old girl, Kayla Hamilton, an autistic woman in your state of Maryland, was strangled to death by an illegal alien MS-13 gang member led into the country by Joe Biden. All right? And this just happened 2 days ago. All right? This is a guy who threw a rock into a school bus and shattered the skull of an 8-year-old girl. This happened last week. This is an illegal alien who was arrested yesterday for molesting a 7-year-old child in Georgia, an illegal alien. All right, this is an illegal alien who killed a teen girl after Charlotte Mayor likes.
And again, these are the most of who they're going for. Are they also arresting other illegals who are nearby when these people are arrested? Yes. Are they detaining people, mostly a bunch of white people, citizens who are intervening when they're trying to arrest said people? Yes. Are they arresting non-violent illegal immigrants to get to their spouses or brothers or cousins or whatever? Probably. That's probably the case in the case of that DoorDash driver that ran into someone's house. But these things are happening. And a lot of them, and it's a very bad look, but no one seems to talk about it. A lot of the ones that they're going after during these horrible things that happen, Renee Good, this one, are these horrible child predators. Like, what the hell?
Whatever. Vi Lyles lets him walk free. This person was just arrested yesterday. So, just yesterday, I have all these examples that I could show you.
Why do I say child predator? Because I've said often that I hate when people use the word child. Because YouTube thinks poorly of it when I say kid fucker. So I'm not allowed to say that, so I say child predator. Thank you.
But I don't see a single riot in a single street for any of these guys. Because they quite literally do not care. And they're willing. They're willing to utilize and sacrifice innocent lives for their gigantic propaganda machine of fucking controlling you. And that's exactly what this is all about, all right? Republicans are doing well all of a sudden with Trump taking Greenland, with all this stuff, and Trump looks like he's doing well, looks like he's gonna do better in the midterms, and all of a sudden, oh my god, all these innocent people are getting killed by ICE after attacking them with cars and guns and shit. Charlie Kirk will get assassinated, the largest conservative voice in the country, and they'll be like, it was just one retarded furry. It wasn't us. It wasn't our fault. It was just one single incident.
And what's really funny is I keep hearing people saying that people are harassing Renee Good's kid, sending death threats to the school and bombings and all that. I haven't heard of any of this. Like, I haven't seen any of this on the news, left or the right. I haven't seen it. I've only seen it on volatile cesspits from people who don't have their real face on it. Not that I'm going to talk on that case, but on Twitter, on YouTube, or not even on YouTube, on Facebook. I have not seen this. I haven't even seen Hassan Piker talking about this. And he's always ready to jock for all these fuckers. So if Hassan Piker's not saying it, then it's so ridiculous and so outlandish. It's more than likely not happening.
Instance of it happening, very sad. It was his own rhetoric that caused it. It's his fault, and we'll celebrate his death. But it was also not our fault that we called him a Nazi. It was just that one guy. It was just that one dude. And then they will march their NPC army of suicidal retards into the streets. Anywho, let's take a look at how the news is reporting this.
So, heard this happen a little after 10:15 Eastern time, and I'll start with what we do know. This was a Border Patrol involved shooting. This was not ICE. Border Patrol shot somebody who DHS tells Fox News was armed with a gun. They have recovered that gun as well as 2 magazines. Now, I'm told the person was shot multiple times and that medics were working on them and that CPR was being performed. There is a video floating around online of the shooting where you can see this shooting happening. What we do not know right now is what led up to the shooting or what type of enforcement this was. Was this a targeted immigration enforcement? Did Border Patrol know who this person was? Was it somebody in the U.S. illegally that they were marking for arrest? Was this a protester? Was this an agitator? Was this a U.S. citizen? Those are the questions we don't know right now. Obviously, when something like this happens...
So anyway, now we do know. Now we know that it was a U.S. citizen. It was a guy with a legal license to concealed carry. And he concealed carried, and he pulled out a weapon by ICE officers, and they were like, holy shit, we should actually defend ourselves or something. I don't know. I don't know what went through their head. Again, this isn't me saying that everything is kosher in this situation, but this is me saying that this dude committed suicide by cop. All right, this dude decided to show up as a agitator, as a violent retard. You saw him getting into physical altercations with these people while he's resisting arrest, and it looked like he was reaching for a gun and they killed him. Again, very sad.
Sorry, I just got a notification. I just want to say how retarded the medical system is. You have to pay before you do anything. They check your insurance and all that. Now they're saying I owe $644. Eat my balls.
Sad this happened. Unbelievable that these people are brainwashed by the retards to happen. He died doing what he loved, trying to prevent rapists and pedophiles from being arrested. What a guy. What a guy. He will be remembered forever as a retard that committed suicide by cop. Again, to be clear, this is not me celebrating his death. I am sad that he died. I wish that he wouldn't have died. To be frank, I wish that he wouldn't have been manipulated.
No, and then that's the thing. These things are tragic. No one, except for retards, are happy that people like this die. I wouldn't be happy if it was an ICE agent who was killed. I'm not happy when it's these people who are clearly either paid or brainwashed into being there. Okay, because nobody nobody in their right mind should take any kind of firearm there when you're there to protest the cops. Again, this is not the same as Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse was there to protect his friend's dad's property because I think he owned like a sandwich shop or a car dealership or some shit. I don't know. People in my tax bracket don't own businesses, so I don't know. I don't remember what it was, but I do remember that he didn't shoot anybody unless they tried to kill him, and even then he showed great restraint. I went over that video a long time ago. I can go over it again if anybody's interested in that. But again, I watched all the video. I watched it multiple times. These are not the same situation by any stretch of the imagination. If you think they are, you're a basic bitch.
Into thinking that fighting and wrestling with ICE officers, taking a weapon to wrestle with ICE officers, I wish that no one manipulated him into thinking that was a good thing to do. Charlie
Exactly.
Kirk gets assassinated, the entire left erupts with cheers and glee. All right, some retard commits suicide by cop on the left, and people on the right are just like, well, I really wish that didn't happen. I really wish these people weren't this retarded for it to happen.
No, of course not.
Rip Bozo, I guess.
But unfortunately, retardation is widespread in this country.
His parents, this is the guy that was killed, told him not to engage with federal officers while attesting protests in Minnesota. Wow, his parents were right. We had this discussion with him 2 weeks ago or so, so go ahead and protest, but do not engage. Do not do anything stupid, basically. Alex Fathers, Michael Preddy, told CBS News, and he said he knows that, he knew that, he didn't know that. He fought the guy physically, and he died. Again, it's unbelievable that this keeps happening.
We had a discussion with him 2 weeks ago or so. Said, yeah, that's what, and this is what his dad said. I mean, it's funny to me. Like, I like when they said Renee Good's father said that he was against it, but the only thing I can find was her father and her ex-father-in-law was against her doing this kind of stuff. But this apparently seems to be, Michael Preddy. So that's probably his actual father because they have the same fucking last name. But yeah, these people's parents told them not to do these kinds of things. But they did it anyway, and I understand the passion and then all the propaganda that's out there. It's hard to sift through. But what I do is, I talk about it. I don't go out there and put myself in the line of fire for people that don't really give a fuck about me. Again, fodder.
It's honestly insane. So everyone knew this was coming. That's the craziest part. Dude's parents told him it was going to happen. He said he knew that would happen. And then he did it anyway. He was so primed by the leftoid, retarded, regurgitated bullshit that he went to fight with law enforcement doing their duty. Of course, the Democrat Party immediately tweets, ICE agents shot and killed another person in Minneapolis. Get ICE out of Minnesota now. Again, these people are political tools to the left. Every single person that ICE kills is just another political weapon that they...
And again, a lot of these people are people that called Charlie Kirk a Nazi and said he deserved what he got. People that cheered it, people who said they wish they were there, people who were dancing when they saw it live. And Charlie wasn't even attacking anybody. I don't like some of the things he said. A lot of the things he said were taken out of context or clipped to make it sound like he said something way, way, way worse than he actually said. But he was shot for talking. And this person was shot for wrestling with a cop, which you're not supposed to do unless your friend's going to the gym or something.
They could use. I did not see these people crying for any of these people getting raped by illegal aliens. I didn't see these people crying for Irina Zarutska getting stabbed. I didn't see these people getting cried for Charlie Kirk, an innocent guy, a father.
And by the way, Irina Zarutska's killer was let out by the same judge that let him out every other time. As far as I know, he's still on the loose.
A husband getting murdered on stage in front of his family and tens of thousands of people. They only cry for the retard that dies while resisting arrest with a gun. Again, I'm not trying to be controversial here when I say they literally pick and choose the things to care about. And then they manipulate their army of retards to also care about that same thing as a political weapon.
And it's the same thing with people who were always pro-Palestine, harassing Jews on college campuses and all throughout the country and the West in general. People were arrested or told to get out of public in Britain for you look a little too Jewish to be in this group of Islamic protesters and prayers. People who were playing the call to Allah in the middle of Britain. outside, which is a bit much. Remember everyone who talks about separation of church and state. But yeah, it's these things are different. And then those people who are big Palestine and Hamas supporters at the same time completely ignore the genocides happening in Africa, which are also religious based. I think it was the Sudan or Chad. I can't remember off the top of my head, but.
And it's so obvious. Stephen Miller is like.
I'm getting old. Fuck off.
Diabolical. A would-be assassin tried to murder federal law enforcement, and the official Democratic account sided with the terrorists. So
I don't like that Stephen Miller's calling the guy a fucking assassin, okay? More than likely, he was not an assassin. He was far too... Like, I could hear Benny Hill music playing the whole time this was happening until the shot. And then I realized I'm an asshole. But the guy was not an assassin, okay? Stephen Miller has some pretty base takes, but for the most part, to me, he looks like if French Stewart had played Dr. Evil in Austin Powers, okay? This guy is not a serious person.
while I do think that this might be a case of domestic terrorism, you know, just fighting and wrestling against law enforcement to stop them from doing their job, I do not think I would call this guy a would-be assassin. And the issue
exactly.
is you have so many people on the right so tired and riled up, you know, because you have these instances take place where no one wants this to happen, but it does happen because, you know, inevitably, statistically, this is going to happen when enough people run at ICE officers with weapons. Some of them are going to get killed. But anyway, it's an actual nightmare situation. The victim died, according to Minneapolis Police Chief. 1. ICE must leave Minneapolis. 2. Congress should not fund this version of ICE. What the fuck does that even mean, this version of ICE? Thanks, Chris Murphy. What does that mean, this version of ICE? An assassin tried to murder federal agents. This is your response. Again, I think this is...
Stop calling him assassin.
It a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I do think this is slight hyperbole. But again...
It's 100% hyperbole. Stephen Miller needs to stop calling him a fucking assassin.
Do not care about the innocents. It's unbelievable. So Governor Tim Walz, who's currently being investigated for $18 billion of fraud, had to say, I just spoke at the White House after another horrific shooting by federal agents this morning. Minnesota has had it. This is sickening. And again... this has happened.
What did you say to the White House, Tim Walz? Tell us what happened. Tell us what you said. Tell us what Trump said. Don't just say, I spoke with the White House. The president must end this. What did you say? What did he say? Or were you just shooting the shit? Like, come on. Give us a little more than that. But yeah, again, DC Drano's pretty peak here. He says, you keep calling ICE agents Gestapo and fascists, and then act surprised when your people try shooting them or running them over with cars. And you're doing it to distract people from the rampant Somali daycare fraud schemes that your government assisted in. All this blood's on your hands. Which is not an untrue statement, I'm just going to say.
You are riling your people up to attack ICE officers. This is the most obvious thing in the universe. If you would tell your people, actually, we should help ICE officers deport all the illegal aliens, you know, because Trump won the election.
Hey, speaking of retarded takes, let's take a quick moment to look at David Hogg talking a bunch of bullshit. I'm just blown away, not the best words to say when someone was shot in the street, that the same people who say everyone needs a gun are now saying if you are legally armed, the government is allowed to execute you. That is not what people are saying. Everyone I've seen, except for the people who, again, like me, are a bunch of faceless assholes on the internet. The only difference is they're grifting, and I just don't want to show my face until I start getting paid enough to do this full time. No one is saying the government can execute you. They're saying if you're armed, whether it be concealed or open carry, do not interfere with police work and do not get into a fist fight or wrestling match with said cops. Do not resist arrest because they'll see the gun and that will heighten tensions even more. Do not interfere. Do not get involved. This guy was actively in their face. And then he swung on someone who he thought was ICE, but he had been pepper sprayed. So he accidentally hit a woman. It's cartoonish. It's not funny, but it is hilarious. Anyway.
With the mandate to deport all the illegals for the American people, and we're part of the United States, and therefore we have to follow the law. So, hey guys, I think we shouldn't peaceful protest. I think we should help ICE locate and peacefully deport as many illegal aliens as possible. Because we lost the election. Because we're fucking retarded, we're stupid, and we hate our country. And people know that, so they voted for the other guy. I think that's what you should do, bro. That's your move. But instead, you're militiafying the retards. The president must end this operation. Pull the 1,000 violent, untrained officers out of Minnesota now. So here we have this guy, once again, utilizing the death of some reason.
And I do agree these people should go through some proper training. I know a lot of them have training. They have previous law enforcement. A lot of them work security, and a lot of them work for other federal agencies. But again, they should be trained specifically for the kind of ops that they're going to be doing, like together. Train together.
Retard, quite literally, to push his political agenda. It doesn't even take him a heartbeat of time to do this. Oh no, a retard died in a terrible situation. Let's tear up the Constitution, I guess. Who cares about the last election? Who cares about any of that, bro? Let's keep calling them Nazis and Gestapo, telling people to keep protesting and fighting.
Yeah, they're Nazis and Gestapo, but let's, so if you look into the news a couple days ago, they voted, the House and the Senate, I want to say, voted to, or no, hold on. Yeah, a government funding package for ICE was approved, and 7 Democrats voted for it. And, of course, the rest of the Democrats are calling for, people to just accept that 7 people voted against them, probably including that one guy who wears a hoodie all the time. I can't think of his name right now. But no, online, a lot of these same people who are saying shit like this are calling for people to resign, and that's on the soft side of things. But 2, they're calling for people to hunt these people down, to hunt their families down. You can't make this shit up.
Classic Timothy Walz. So this is what this dude said on the news, which is unbelievable.
Minnesotans are witnessing, and we're creating a log of evidence.
Are you?
Future prosecution of ICE agents and officials responsible for this.
Sounded like persecution.
Yeah, so, literally, what the fuck does this mean? Officials responsible for this? You mean they won an election to deport the illegals? That was literally the mandate, and now they're doing their job trying to deport the illegals, and you are fighting them? There is no, there's no debating with this entire situation. They're all retarded. What is this? Is unbelievably pathetic. It's insane. They only want power, but it got worse. Way worse. Bro, she is not doing anything.
Well, I spoke twice this morning, shortly after I received the call of this shooting. I spoke with the President's Chief of Staff, and first request was to get her people out of there, to get these federal agents out of there if they were going to...
A guy committed suicide by cop, tear up the Constitution.
And second call is, with no uncertain terms, that we will investigate this. We will not be stonewalled. What we've already seen, and you saw it this morning, before any investigation is done, you have the most powerful people in the federal government spinning stories and putting up pictures, and unrelated people who we don't know anything about, and a picture of a firearm to try.
It was his firearm.
Yeah, it was. You can see them carrying it off.
A picture of a firearm, which was his.
I asked
by the
Americans, this will end when enough Americans say this will end. Do I have any confidence Donald Trump will do the right thing? No, I don't have a lot of confidence Donald Trump will do the right thing. I do have a lot of confidence that the majority of the American people will do the right thing, and I think there cannot be.
Oh, so this is all for votes.
This country looking right now, after all the reporting that's been done, after everything that's been said, under the pretense that they are here about immigration reform, and quit referring to these people as law enforcement. They are not law enforcement.
I mean,
what?
Who do an incredible job.
What?
And to listen to Greg Babino
What?
denigrate the work of our people who are out there cleaning up their mess. No.
Your people are quite literally not helping them.
Yeah,
against the mob
they're
that's
not doing
lynching
anything.
them in public. So this guy goes out and calls ICE not law enforcement. So imagine you are a retard. You're a retard with no spine and no morals and no ethics. You just graduated college. You have a degree in lesbian tap dancing. And now you hear your governor saying that ICE agents are unlawful and they are not law enforcement. They're not trying to enforce laws, which is a lie. There is a law called deport the fucking illegal alien that came into our country
Yes.
illegally. They invaded our country. They have to go. That's literally a law, and they are following the law. They are enforcing the law, which makes them law enforcement. So when this guy goes up, he calls them non-law enforcement. They're just kidnapping your neighbors. You're going to get retards killing themselves to try to stop them. And we keep literally seeing this. So, in my opinion, this kind of shit is what's getting these people killed. So much
No,
more than the
100%.
person that actually pulls the trigger in a split-second decision where he doesn't know if his life is in danger or not. It's unbelievable. Oh my God! Oh my God! A guy committed suicide by cop. Tear up the Constitution. And they're all doing this now because quite literally they are using these people as their human shields. Americans are being killed in the streets by our government. Well, dog, this dude, like, was not just some random guy. Why was he there? Why was he even there? The story didn't start when he was shot. Our Constitution is being shredded. Our rights are being dissolved. What are we even talking about? Like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Like, this fear-mongering is ridiculous. Senate Dems should block ICE funding this week. Activate the National Guard. So, anyway,
Okay, and another example of the Krasensteins being utter fucking retards. Jack Posobiec says, do you know what is also a good way to not get shot by the cops? Stay home instead of coming out and interfering with ICE. Who, by the way, ICE's whole purpose of being there is to get illegal people out. Not brown people, not black people, just illegal immigrants. Okay? They do happen to be Somalian for the most part there. But again, they're committing all kinds of fraud there, as been put forth by, not Nick Sorter, is Nick Shirley or Nick Sorter? I don't know. There's a lot of retard conservative Nicks out there. But Krasenstein said, so in other words, be one of the people from Nazi Germany who just sat by and watched fascism as fascism took over. Got it. This is not fascism, okay? Oh wait, wrong one. The Krasensteins are retards. Okay, they are grifters. They do not care about you. And by the way, they are also involved in their own fraud scheme as as I show. Oh, they took down my... Oh, those fuckers. Okay. Well, they took down my post. Anyway.
directly wants some sort of insurrection. He wants the Democrats to pull the National Guard to fight against the ICE agents. Like, if this isn't a call for civil war, I really don't know what is. Trump has the mandate of the American people to deport the illegals. I feel like I'm a broken clock repeating this, but the reality is everyone is muddying the waters so badly, you don't even know what's going on anymore. This is not a story about how some ruthless ICE officers murdered some random innocent guy. This is a story about how people invaded our country under the Biden administration. So the people voted for Donald Trump primarily to deport the people that invaded our country.
Yes, this was something he ran on.
The Democrats are insurrecting against the government, fighting tooth and nail against ICE officers doing their job, trying to make a mountain out of a molehill,
Yes.
defending every illegal alien, rapist, pedophile they possibly can. And here we are now. Massive swaths of retards attacking ICE officers in the streets, trying to run them over with cars, brandishing firearms while they're being lawfully detained, attacking them with shovels. And you have an ICE officer that very likely made a mistake. And that's the story of today. The conclusion is tell people to stop attacking ICE officers and they wouldn't be dying. The conclusion here is saying, hey, maybe we should let ICE officers do their job. We'll even help them. Let them deport the illegals like, was mandated by the American people when Trump was elected president. And then no one will get hurt. But they don't care. They quite literally, frankly, don't care. And they're manipulating their mob of retards to commit suicide by cop to use them as human shields. Alex Jeffrey Preddy was an ICU nurse at VA hospital. Again, we're getting the whole memorial for a retard that committed suicide by cop. His life, through his profession, was dedicated to serving his community and our country. As so many are now seen on video, his final act before he was killed by federal agents was doing everything in his power to protect his community. As you can see, okay, as we've seen on video, his final act before he was killed by federal agents was assaulting a police officer,
Yes.
resisting arrest,
Yes.
obstructing justice,
Yes.
and taking a firearm with the potential intention of killing ICE officers. We all saw the video. We all know what happened, all right? His final act wasn't doing anything noble. His final act was being a complete and utter retard. Does that mean he should be dead? No, it's sad that he's dead.
Yes.
But let's not make believe
100%
his final act
sad.
was anything other than being completely retarded. Alex and tens of thousands of Minnesotans boldly defended their neighbors. Dog, it is not their place to be defending their quote-unquote neighbors that invaded the country illegally. Like, what are we doing? against the murderous occupation of an American city by the federal government. Murderous occupation? First of all, this is slander. There's no evidence of any murders taking place. We don't know at this point. That's one. And two, murderous occupation? Dog, we deported 10 times this amount from Texas, and there was no issue. There were no people killed. You know why? Because they stood with the ICE officers doing their job. I'm enraged and heartbroken for Alex and family, Minneapolis and America. Oh my God, America's falling. A retard died. It's
Okay, real quick, and I'm not going to say much on this. Apparently, according to some people, he may have had another gun. I'm not seeing it here. They're saying that the first one came from an angle that could have only been the person. I don't know if that's true. Again, I'm going to take it through my own video, slower downer, and keep an eye out for other people who do videos that, again, I trust and they are factually correct.
unbelievable that we're doing this. None of this would have happened if you didn't allow 20 million.
Yes, I said slower downer.
Country the last 4 years. So this is the border. All right, people just rolling in. Kamala Harris, by the way, was the border czar under Biden. For those of you that aren't aware,
that was Biden's words, not Trump's words. I mean, Trump said it too, but Biden was the originator.
Nothing being done about it every single day, just tens of thousands to the point that it reached to millions. Some say between 20 and 30 million people invaded our country illegally, and now we have this massive cleanup job that we have to do to clean up your mess. And now instead of helping us clean up your mess, you're trying to make the mess worse by getting American citizens so agitated that they are committing suicide by cop to stop people from deporting people that should
Which
not
is 100% what it is.
And it's unbelievable the levels of retarded shit we're seeing from the left, because this is literally their Christmas. They love when leftists die in order so they can push their cause. It's the best thing ever for these guys.
They really do, because they don't care about you.
Girls getting raped by illegals. That they don't care about. They don't care about violent repeat offenders killing people in America. That doesn't bother them at all. But a guy getting killed because he was retarded, obstructing justice? Nah. Criminals are the leftist superheroes. This appears to be an execution by an immigration enforcement. It's definitely not an execution. I am absolutely heartbroken, horrified, appalled that federal agents murdered another member of this community. Ilhan Omar, your father was a colonel in the genocide against Somalilanders in Somaliland, in Somalia. You could quite literally shut up. It is beyond shameful these federal agents are targeting our residents instead of protecting them. They're not targeting these people. If you watch the actual video, it is obvious as all hell that this only happened because they were blocking ICE from arresting a violent sex offender, illegal alien. The Trump administration is trying to be, this isn't isolated or accidental. The Trump administration is trying to beat us into submission rather than protect us. No, Trump is trying to deport the illegals. You are trying to stop him from doing his job.
That is all he's doing.
All these people are
like, look, I'm here. I say bad Trump when Trump does bad thing. Trump, the way he described Renee Good's killing, was overblown highly. It's a tragedy that she died, but again, suicide by cop. There's no other way to describe it. I don't think that Trump and Kristi Noem, who I don't like at all, did a good job at describing what had happened, because we all saw the video from at least 7, I think 8 camera angles have come out on it. We've all seen what happened. Even on the camera angles that came out, the first 2 or 3, it was nowhere near what they described. However, again, if she hadn't been doing what she's doing, blocking ICE with her car, they never would have got out, and her girl never would have said, "Go, baby, go." She never would have drone off into the ICE agent, who, again, was a dipshit for walking around the car the way he did. But there's a lot of stupid shit happening to make this happen.
Part of this giant insurrection, and I'm so tired of making believe it's not. And Trump obviously doesn't want to start some big deal by calling the Insurrection Act, but I think he has to, bro.
He does. He absolutely has to. At this point, there's no way to get out of this except for that.
Laken Riley is trending on Twitter. You might not know who she is. She is someone that was raped and murdered by an illegal alien that the Democrats refused to mention my name. So, yeah, anyway, this administration cannot continue violating the constitutional rights under the guise of immigration enforcement. They're not violating
say her name.
Constitutional rights, which is a lot.
People are all saying, say her name for Megan Good. Say Laken Riley's name. Come on.
ICE and CBP must leave Minnesota immediately. No, a retard committed suicide by cop. Tear up the Constitution. Their presence is terrorizing our communities, violating rights, taking lives with zero accountability.
Speaking of zero accountability, Ilhan Omar.
Should have never been. And Trump had turned it into a war zone. No, you turned it into a war zone. It is so tiring watching these retards not taking accountability for the shit that they do. Where unchecked federal forces murder our neighbors. Again, we don't know if it's murder, but this is absolutely insane shit. It really is. And just look at Governor J.B. Pritzker, right? He's the governor of Illinois.
Negligent homicide
So
at
what
worst.
Fat retard's been saying.
Well, the American public has lost trust in ICE and CBP because of the constant lies. Greg Bovino, Tricia McLaughlin, Tom Homan, Kristi Noem, they come out and say things that we have now proven are false. They accuse people of things, as they did in Chicago, and try to take them to court and criminalize something that they did when it turns out they didn't do it. And indeed, none of those charges have stuck. They've all been dismissed across the board. So trust is lost, and it's why Trump's ICE has to go.
Trump's ICE.
We've got to figure out how what we're going to do to replace it with something responsible and with responsible people.
Yeah, let's replace Trump's ICE. Dog, Obama used the same ICE, and he deported way more people than Trump.
And Tom Homan was in charge of it
There were no
during
protests,
Obama's
there were
days.
no riots, there was no violence, there were no murders, there was none of this shit. Quite literally, because all of a sudden, when the Democrats do it, it's a good thing. And then the Democrats are like, wait, why are we deporting an underclass of society when we can instead import them to steal elections? And then everything changed. The messaging changed because the retard on top had his retarded opinions trickle down to the retards on the bottom, and that's essentially where we're at right now. So it's not Trump's ICE. It is the legal immigration enforcement, and it is absolute insanity that we need to play these games watching these people try to make believe this is something that it's not. These people quite literally are all lying constantly, and it's working on millions of Americans that are retarded, including people that, I mean, quite literally, I'm shocked that they got so absolutely kerfuffled by this, as I'm going to show you. You know, Moist Critical describes this situation.
Yeah, Moist Critical and Mudahar. I'm surprised Mudahar was
sometimes, and he describes it in
taken
the
in
most
by
asinine
this.
way possible, because literally none of these people are living in reality. I've said it before, and I will say it again. Wanting to deport every single illegal alien that invaded our country against our will and against our policies is a moderate position. Allowing infinite illegal aliens to invade our country illegally, to rape our land, our women, and our healthcare social services systems
Where's he reading
is
this?
the extreme position. You're the radicals. I am the moderate. And I am not willing to let you gaslight me into thinking it's the other way around.
Oh,
of
my
course,
bad.
Hassan Piker immediately blames the Jews. You get
Yeah,
it? Make-
anti-Israel.
United States of Israel. You get it, guys? Do you get it? Because apparently enforcing the laws is Israel. Get in there and make it about the Jews. There it is. I don't know, bro, how we're even dealing with these people. Now,
It's Hassan Piker and Candace Owens, two people who are both. Let's face it, they're both leftists. Candace Owens claims to be heavily right wing. She's not. She's just a grifter, and she goes whichever the way the wind blows. She was a hard leftist in like 2014, 2015, and then Trump happened, and then she's been hard right ever since. She's not. She's a grifter, and she hates Israel. I understand not liking Netanyahu, but to blame everything on Israel is retard speak.
Hassan Piker keeps going. 37-year-old Alex Preddy was a registered nurse that worked in the VA. He was killed trying to protect Minnesotans. He wasn't killed trying to protect
He wasn't
anybody.
protecting
Like,
anyone.
dude, we have to stop this gaslighting. He was killed because he was retarded.
Yeah.
Okay? Was the killing justified? I don't know if the killing was justified, but it happened because he was a retard. Bro wasn't trying to protect anybody, least of all Minnesotans, because the people that Trump's trying to deport are not Minnesotans. They are invaders.
Yes.
We are letting the worst Americans kill the best Americans. Again, this is so
Hassan
hilarious.
Piker's the
Coming
worst
from Hassan
American.
Piker, you know, constantly talking about this poor 37-year-old. Yeah, a whole eulogy for this guy who committed suicide by ICE. Whole eulogy, unbelievable. My guy, you literally support Luigi Mangione, a guy who murdered an innocent man, maybe an asshole, true, in cold blood, allegedly. All right, you celebrated the murder of Charlie Kirk. You don't care.
And
about the murder of
this guy puts it perfectly. Radical left playbook: create problem, protest solution, become problem, blame the solution. Literally every single time. I'm gonna like that guy. Hold on, I don't know who you are, sir. But husband, creator, America first. Okay, apparently he's some guy like Al Bundy who's living off football when he was in school, but again, very base take.
Ashley Babbitt. You don't care about any of these people getting killed at all, in fact. You supported October 7th rapes and murders. You support
He
the
100% did.
Ayatollah regime mass murdering tens of thousands of protesters in Iran right now. You are literally pro-terror in every conceivable reality. And then, of course, he'll write this whole eulogy for a guy that literally died as a retard. He lived like a retard, and he died like a retard. So, of course, his son Piker decides to save America one step at a time with his Russian communist hat and press vest and mask, obviously, because he's literally streaming it, because obviously he does all these things for clout. He doesn't actually care. He actually directly wants the destruction of the Western world, which is why he supports all the terrorists that hate us and want to kill us. And there he is, ladies and gentlemen. There he is on the ground. He joined the protest. What a guy. What a dude. So, Nick Fuentes, ironically, the voice of reason on the Israel conversation, ICE has nothing to do with Israel. You can't call yourself America first if you think we could tolerate 30 million third world illegal aliens living in our country. There would be no violence if the illegals took their free plane ticket home and the leftists stopped harassing ICE. This is just completely true.
Yeah,
There's no
100% true.
And the irony is, and this is my favorite thing ever, so it's like, oh my god, it's Israel, it's Israel. And a lot of people on the right, like the retards on the right that are also saying that Israel is secretly ICE or something, are doing it too. No, this is my favorite thing ever. If you think Israel has nothing to do with ICE, you are sold out, period. He has got the call.
What?
Now he's being a good guy. Nick has sold out.
Okay. Look, the fact that Nick Fuentes is even saying that it's not Israel, Nick Fuentes blames Israel for almost everything. So if he's saying, guys, it's not Israel, come on. Like, what the fuck are we even talking about?
To Israel. This is the craziest timeline of all time. It's like, bro, I want to deport every illegal alien for the country. I can't believe you got bought by the Jews. It's over. I am telling you, there is not one controversy in all of America that someone hasn't blamed the Jews for. It's like, dog, I sort of feel bad for Nick Fuentes. I mean, like, I'll be real. I'll be upfront here. All right, this dude, he pushes some of the most insane Israel conspiracy theories ever, right? He thinks Israel killed JFK, even though Israel was barely a country when JFK was assassinated, which is, like, obviously, there's no evidence that Israel killed JFK. But he believes it, all right?
Yeah.
So you have this guy who, like, you know, he's an intelligent guy, and he's going to go out there, and he's, like, super anti-Israel and stuff like that, and then, unfortunately, all the low IQ anti-Semites pop out. And this dude looks like a complete idiot just because he's, like, associating with these people. The sneakos of the world that think that abducting Maduro from Venezuela is secretly an Israeli operation, and that the reason why Trump wants Greenland is because of Israel. Sneeko has said this stuff. So it's like, you've got to feel bad for, like, the high IQ anti-Semites, bro, because the low IQ...
Look, okay, and shit like this, okay, this is what miffs me. Okay. They're saying that this is an armored vehicle driving into protesters. Okay? First of all, there's no protesters in the road. Starting here. And then the protesters come into the road. Right. Okay, there's a trash can he's already ran over. So they've blocked the roads with bird feeders and planters and trash cans and shit. No protesters in the road. Okay, they're thinking, that'll do. There's no way that he's going to drive through these things that we put into the road. They are. They're in an armored vehicle. It can take it. The protesters then slowly walk out and stand in front of it. Look, these guys are acting like this is Tiananmen fucking Square, okay? What the fuck is even happening? And if this was Tiananmen Square, they would just run over you like the tanks did. But they slow down to 3, 4, 5 miles an hour and slowly coast forward, and more people come out in front of the vehicles. Okay, this is self-aggrandizement at its finest, at best. Albeit this is a tubby fuck who's wearing a gas mask for some reason. More people come out. Yeah, me too. And again, none of these people were in the road 3 seconds ago until the vehicles slowed down. The vehicles would have slowed down if these people were in the road, but they even slowed down for debris and fodder. Okay, this is retarded. And mind you, these are armored vehicles, yes, but as far as I know, I've been in a couple of these, there are no locks on these doors. Okay, there are no locks. They're armored, they're bulletproof, but there's no locks on these doors. There's just these little dinky handles. I probably shouldn't have said that on here, but let's face it, only a few people are watching anyway. Get the fuck out of the way. Attention. fascist. They're saying this. Okay, they're saying this is driving into protesters. Okay, they're literally just inching these people. And we've seen people grab onto the bull bars on the front of some of these vehicles, the cop cars at least, and then fall backwards, and then hold on to the bull bars. And then here's more ice or something. So what's happening is these people are pushing through until they get to this other line of some kind of law enforcement, okay? And if these protesters are still on the front of this hood when they get to law enforcement, then, yeah. Arrest Jonathan Ross. I think that's the guy that shot, what's her name? Megan Good. But this is what people are saying. They're saying that they drove into protesters. The protesters were not in the road until they all but stopped, okay? This is Nazi hunters. Oh no, yeah, this is just factually correct. They were upset when the Nazis wanted to kill all the Jews, but when it's Palestinians wearing the Hezbollah flag, oh no, it sounds pretty good. I'm down with that.
Like you anti-Semites, they make them look completely retarded. Now, anyway, Moist Critical, that's a crazy segue. He also responded to this. Now, I want to make this clear. Moist Critical, I think, is a relatively reasonable guy, but Trump syndrome broke this man's brain.
But this is perfect example of a normie. Okay, Moist Critical for the most part when it comes to politics is a normie. Okay, he doesn't get too involved. But this is his take.
He thinks that Epstein is Trump's fault, and therefore everything Trump does is bad. And it's unbelievable, because the Biden administration literally covered up Epstein for 4 years. It is the most bipartisan issue of all things. You know, everyone claims that things are bipartisan. This is the real bipartisan issue. The situation where you have both sides protecting pedophiles, which is insanity. So now, Moist Critical does this whole video talking about how this was a murder. It's so sad that the guy was killed. He was just an innocent guy. And this is him describing the guy getting killed.
Like, all because he was fucking filming and trying to help other people around there, it seems.
No.
Yeah, so this is ultimately his explanation. He does a full 18-minute video talking about how angry it is that this guy is dead. And, I mean, it's sad that the guy's dead.
Yeah, it's horrible that the guy's dead.
But ultimately, his final conclusion is this is why it happened.
Beaten. Like, all because he was fucking filming and trying to help other people around there, it seems.
Quite literally, that is not true.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Mr. Moist. That is just a straight-up hocus pocus lie. You read a
and I like Charlie. Okay, he's had several viral videos come out when Sneeko inadvertently threatened him by saying, "Hey, if you like my clips, here's my clips right here." And this guy, like a straight up G, comes out here with a larger handgun than Sneeko had, and said, "These are not clips, they're mags." And then he pulls up a rifle, an assault rifle, fully decked out. Said, "Just like these are not clips, they're mags. You sound fucking stupid." Doesn't threaten him, stays calm as shit, and like I said, just a straight up G move. 10 out of 10, no notes.
A fucking Kamala Harris tweet and you think you have an idea of the situation. That is absolutely, demonstrably untrue. The guy was killed because the ICE officer, maybe rightfully, maybe wrongfully, presumed that guy was a threat on his life. That's why he was killed. I don't know if he was or if he wasn't. He seemingly wasn't. I do think that the ICE officer did not act appropriately.
Yeah.
That's my analysis.
And I agree. The ICE officer, he, at least according to what we've seen and heard now, a little bitch made. I'm not going to lie. Like, he, again, from what we've seen, more may come out, just like the Making Good situation. But for the most part, let's face it, most people decided what side they were on the second this happened. If that's you, I feel for you. But we can also be honest, okay? We can say that the cop, probably not the best shoot that you've ever seen in a situation like this, but at the same time, the person who got shot was not innocent by any stretch of the imagination, for at all. Megan Good, tragic, yes, got herself killed by being the head of a vehicle blocking thing. There's a whole line of these vehicles, apparently, from other angles that have been shown. She was the head car, blocked them, freaked out, because, you know, I mean, just like the old rap says, there's no such thing as halfway crooks. She was not prepared for said things. She got in deeper than she could handle, and she panicked, which, understandably, but I wouldn't have gotten myself in that situation. At least not at the age that she was. Again, she was 37 too.
He was killed because the ICE officer thought his life was at risk, because you have ICE officers getting killed, getting shot at in the streets, getting rammed by cars, getting attacked by shovels. There was an ICE agent who just got his finger bitten off.
Many people who aren't being investigated, it seems, on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, saying that people need to go out there armed and start gunning down cops. Not even saying just ICE agents. Some of them are, but saying they need to gun down cops because this is the revolution.
Which you're going to be covering in my next video, because my next video is the overall Minnesota fraud situation and how they're using this as a cover-up. It's honestly a pretty big banger. I just felt like I needed to do this one separately on this situation, which got so big and blown out of proportion. So quite literally, no, he did not die because he was helping people. He died because he was retarded, trying to obstruct law enforcement, attacked ICE officers, resisted arrest, had a firearm, and seemingly rushed to try to pull it out, and was killed in what was either correctfully or mistakenly self-defense. And quite literally, that is a fact. And it's unbelievable that we need to live in a reality where retards are trying to paint this as literally anything else.
That doesn't seem to be the case. They're now just using the fact that he had a gun as a justification to kill him. That should be extremely alarming to anyone who cares about 2A.
This quite literally has nothing to do with the Second Amendment. Literally nothing to do with the Second Amendment.
I agree.
Agents aren't rolling down the streets murdering people that have guns. All right, once again, this dude was obstructing justice. He was stopping ICE from doing their job, trying to arrest a violent sex offender. All right, he tried to stop them. He assaulted them. He resisted arrest. He reached for a weapon. This is not just he had the right to carry and they killed him because he had the right to carry. And you have to be brain dead to think that that's the case. And it's unbelievable watching people just swallow the narrative whole. If Alex Petty would have been stabbed on a train by a black career criminal, no one would give a shit. And quite literally, this is, unfortunately, an absolute fact. Moist Critical, getting involved in drama content, didn't have anything to say about Irina Zarutska getting assassinated. I tried. I looked. You did not talk about that. All right, that was an instance of a career criminal that was arrested dozens of times for violence.
Or this here. Like, you'll see people attacking anyone they think is media. They attacked the video I showed sometime during this past week of them attacking their own people because they looked a little too rednecky to be part of the violent mob. But here they go walking up on CNN.
This is
hey, who are you with? Oh, CNN? Oh, you're cool.
Several blocks. We are here at Portland Avenue and East 35th, but it goes at least 2 or 3 blocks.
Who are you? Who do you work
thank
for?
you. Hold on. I'm sorry. We're with CNN. It's okay. Thank you for your help. I'm sorry. I think people are getting upset.
You see that shit?
So that is the latest here on the ground, guys, and I'm going to send it back to you. Small.
Like, what the fuck? Shit's absolutely insane.
Violent acts and constantly let out again and again and again and again. He murdered
excuse me, protesters.
And said, I got that white
Your
girl,
bias is showing.
after she bled out in the it's I'm like literally getting flashbacks thinking about it. Bled out on the floor and no one got up to try and help her. Okay, quite literally, you had nothing to say about that, but you have something to say about this. What is actually happening? And to be clear, I like Moist Critical, but also to be clear, this channel we call out all the retards. Whenever they're retarded in different situations, if I think you're retarded, you're gonna end up in a video.
Yeah.
My name is Kyle. I'm Antifa, and there's so much rage in me that I've had to record this like 15 times trying to get the message out. They fucked up. Okay? Go watch my other videos. Doesn't matter if you're not here and you're not caught up. You missed the fucking fight. But if you are, it's time to suit up. Boots on the ground. Nicollet and fucking 26th. My house is 4 blocks away. Anywhere between Franklin and Nicollet and 26th and Nicollet, show up ready to go. Okay? Not talking about peaceful protests anymore. We're not talking about having polite conversations anymore. I'm talking specifically to my fucking followers. This is everything I have fucking talked about, and this is exactly what I said was gonna happen. This is exactly what I said was gonna fucking come.
Yeah, I can't believe it. All he did was attack an ICE officer trying to do his job with a weapon, and he fought back. Unbelievable. No more peaceful talk. Boots on the ground. Yeah, anyway, so
yeah, I can't believe they shot someone who was wrestling with him. People are like, oh, there was 4 or 5 ICE agents on him. I mean, yeah, you want to try your best. And then that one guy, a little too skittish with the gun, but then you have people say like this, and Antifa fucker saying it's time to gear up and go out there. Anyone between this block and that block. all the Antifa members, which has to be a lot because Minneapolis, let's be honest.
The reality is, this is a terrorist, in my opinion. I really don't see any other way to...
Oh, no, this guy. Antifa is domestic terrorism. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And if you're one of these retards that say, Antifa stands for anti-fascist, so if you're anti the anti-fascist group, you know what that means about you. This is a retard stance, okay? And I'll say this again because I love it. It's the Democratic People's Republic of North Korea, the Great People's Republic of China. I could call myself Long Dick Willie. Doesn't make it true, okay? Just because someone is called a thing doesn't make them a thing, okay? Again, using fascistic tactics while you're in black bloc, and only coming out when it's one side. And I know a lot of people who are Antifa who hated the Biden administration too, but nobody ever came out against them. There were no protests. They all ceased the second Trump got out of office, and they're right back in as soon as he's back into office. And during all this time, they're still funding ICE. They're still funding all the things. They're still deporting people, albeit they're letting a lot more in during that time than they're kicking out. But all these things were still in progress. Nobody cared. Nobody. This is the only reason why I talk about this. It's just because I do not like the hypocrisy. These people don't stand for anything. They just know they don't like this person or this group or whatever. And they use fascistic tactics
which was supposed to be considered and designated as a terrorist
to silence them.
And he's directly calling for his followers to go out and kill ICE agents. It's not enough. Nowhere peaceful. Get armed. And nowhere peaceful. Yeah, so ICE agents have to deal with this. So why wouldn't they presume that their life is in danger when a guy's resisting arrest with a gun? Like while they were literally doing a completely legal job, trying to deport illegals. Like why wouldn't they think their life is in danger when we're swarmed with these retards? It's unbelievable. All right, Michael Knoll says, there are few things in this country more easily achieved than not getting shot by cops. Honestly, completely and utterly true. All right, bro? So, I shot you dead on the street. Here's why. You aren't allowed to pull a gun on me. True.
Wait, what was that?
Getting shot by cops. Honestly, completely and utterly true. All right?
And again, I think Michael Knowles is a bit pompous. I don't like a lot of his takes. I think he has stupid hair. And he's kind of smug, not going to lie. A lot of the people at Daily Wire are. Andrew Klavan's okay. I think I haven't watched a lot of his stuff, but what I've seen, he's been fairly based. And he's, like me, former leftist, but he's much older.
Bro, so I shot you dead on the street. Here's why. You aren't allowed to pull a gun on me. You know, step 1, do not hit them with a car. Step 2, do not attack them with a shovel. Step 3, do not pull out a gun with them. It's like literally, I have never had any of these issues. I never was in an instance when I was like, holy shit, a cop might kill me. You know, the crazy thing is, I never even had that thought cross my mind. You know why? Because if I get pulled over and they say driver's license and registration, I'll give them my fucking driver's license and registration. Not getting killed by cops is the easiest thing in the world. And anyone that does, quite literally, probably failed the Darwin test. I'm not trying to be rude here, but that guy's retarded. Destiny, large leftist streamer, has been going on an entire run. Checkmark is under review. So as you can see, his checkmark is still here, but it probably won't be here very soon. It is under review right now, and he probably will lose it because he's been threatening people's lives. Allegedly threatening people's lives. Minnesota rioter bites off finger of ICE agent. He tweets, "He who saves his country does not violate."
Wow,
the
that's
law."
crazy.
He's being so cool. He's only quoting the president, guys. He's only quoting the president. Yeah, so he's basically telling people to bite off the fingers of ICE agents.
Hold on. He who saves his country does not violate any law. So he's saying that the guy who bit off an ICE agent's finger is completely justified. Again, I don't know the context. I don't know which occurrence it was where someone bit off a finger. This is the first time hearing about it, but again, how do you get that close to an ICE agent?
This is the gunman's gun. It's loaded. He who violates the country, who saves the country, does not violate any law. This is him. He's just quoting the president, guys. What do you mean? He's not calling for. So this is him, in my opinion, calling for people to shoot ICE agents. I mean, quite literally, why would he do that? So Stephen Miller says a would-be assassin tried to murder federal law enforcement, and he says, I hope somebody does it. This is referring to, in my opinion, murdering Stephen Miller, as he said multiple times. And he went on a whole tirade. He has like a dozen of those tweets. Imagine getting yourself killed to protect illegal child rapists from Honduras. There it is, baby.
Oh, so this one was Honduran.
Every
Okay.
time. And this tweet is this is the tweet of the day, by the way, for those of you that are unaware.
Oh.
These people do not process that this man woke up intentionally dressed like a militia movie character, intentionally armed himself, and intentionally went to a federal operation and intentionally interfered with it, and intentionally resisted arrest, and intentionally pulled his gun. Leftists cannot comprehend agency, and therefore they believe...
Again, I didn't see him pull his gun. He went for it, but I'm pretty sure he had been disarmed by then and just didn't know it, maybe. But that part, sketchy on whether or not that part's true, but the rest of it, pretty base.
Instead of that, he literally spawned on the sidewalk through a series of fascist coincidences. He was executed for exercising his constitutional right to do whatever he wants without consequences. This is probably the tweet of the day. Quite literally, well put together, tweet of the day. I had to show it to you. And every single person that talks about this conversation literally...
And that's the best way to put it. His constitutional right to do whatever he wants without consequences. This is what a lot of people think that us saying that this is the freest country in the world means. That's not the case. You can't just do whatever you want. Just because someone disagrees with you does not make them evil, does not make them wrong, does not make them a fascist. And this is why someone who went on what's that Caleb Hammer show, he said they thought they called him out and said, you used to think this and now you think this. He's like, yeah, and then I saw new information. I saw that I was wrong and I changed my mind. And then they called him a hypocrite. That doesn't make you a hypocrite. That makes you a grown-up. Like, that makes you a fully functional adult. Look, if you can see new information or information that you may not have known about or something that alters your worldview and you change your mind, that's not hypocrisy. And they think that because you change your mind or you grow as a person and you change your view on something because of new information that came out. I mean, 20 years ago, Pluto was a planet. Now it's not a planet. It's a planetoid. 20 years ago, we thought all dinosaurs were giant lizards. Dinosaur literally means thunder lizard, if I'm not mistaken. Now we know that they're closer to birds, or at least that's what the speculation would dictate now. Or at least a lot of the species are. Like raptors, T-Rexes, so on. Like a giant chicken. It's fascinating to me that people who are supposed to be science-based and all this, or whatever, let's say you believe transgenderism is the end-all be-all. A lot of people didn't even know about this, let alone believe in it 10, 15 years ago. Would that not make you a hypocrite if you now believe in something that you didn't know about before or didn't think was factually correct before, whether or not you think it's right or wrong? And then a lot of people who transition back. I mean, these are all things that happen. You're allowed to grow. You're allowed to change your mind or descend, whatever way you want to see it. But you're allowed to change your mind. It doesn't make you a hypocrite. Now, there are people who flip-flop on everything, and then they'll change their mind every few weeks. Gender fluid. But those people are hypocrites. Those people are flip-floppers, like John Kerry. You can call that out. But someone who used to believe something and now believe other thing, and a lot of time's passed, and a long time had passed while they believed the one thing, and then they've changed their mind, and then a long time's passed since then. That's just growth.
Literally starts the conversation from there. Even Moist Critical, who does a whole video on this, he talks about it like Ice murdered a guy, and it's bad. And the guy was threatening Ice, and he murdered a guy, and it's bad. Quite literally, not even exaggerating, the only explanation he could give for why this guy died was this.
Beaten. Like, all because he was fucking filming and trying to help other people around there.
No.
All because he was filming and trying to help people is an obvious lie. Again.
Yeah, that's an obvious retard take. Like, I like Charlie, or Moist Critical, whatever you want to call him, but...
Not fully his fault. I still agree that the ICE agent probably made a mistake.
It's a bit retarded.
A terrible mistake that should have consequences after an investigation. I've said this before. I'll say it again. I firmly believe that this is not as open and closed as the Renee Good case. I do not know what was going through his mind, so I'm not here to make a judgment call on the guy. There should be an investigation. But quite
100%. And yes, there should be an investigation. But I know Kristi Noem probably won't do it because she's what's the word? Cunt. But there should be an investigation, and there should be more videos coming out. And all ICE needs body cameras. There needs to be dash cameras on these videos. All of this. There needs, or dash cameras on all these up armored vehicles is what I meant to say. All of this. All these things can be true at the same time. Okay? You can believe that maybe this guy, not quite. I mean, he did the wrong thing for sure. And if he hadn't gone there and antagonized cops while holding a weapon and got into a struggle with one of them, and possibly, probably, maybe, we'll see when more camera angles come out, reached for it. Yeah, but more camera angles will come out, just like it was with the last one. People from across the street, people standing slightly to the left of the person who's we've seen so far, but...
Believe that this guy spawned right there, on the sidewalk with a bullet already hurtling towards his head. It's so sad. I've been doing my best to preach the doctrine of FAFO. If you fuck around, you find out. But leftists, they only know about faux. They only know about finding out. They don't believe about the fucking around. Fucking around, that's not part of the equation according to these guys. It's only the finding out. Must absolutely suck to live in a reality like that where your consequences to your actions are irrelevant because the actions are irrelevant. This is like watching Reddit atheists arguing, if God is good, then why do bad things happen? God debunked, atheism rocks, checkmate, libtards.
And this is, look, I'm not particularly religious, but the fact that bad things happen in the world and this is why people are anti-religious, like, don't be religious, fine, but don't shit talk people because they prayed for something and they believe in the whatever, the power of prayer or whatever. And it didn't happen. Just because you pray for something doesn't mean you get it. Like, no one in religion thinks this except for retard former addicts or some shit. Like, I got a lot of respect for a lot of atheists, but the ones who were just pissed off former Christians who prayed, it's like someone wrote a Santa list and didn't get it. So now not only is Santa a fucking asshole, but his parents are too. Like, this kind of shit gets me. They misunderstand the whole purpose of religion. Again, not overly religious, but I understand it enough to where I don't hate people for being religious or for believing in something that is different from what I believe in. Unless, of course, your prophet is as a pedophile.
It is unreal watching these people actually running around thinking that's what happened. Valid reason for getting shot, according to the libs. Running for president? Yeah, that's an appropriate reason to get shot, according to the libs. I've seen him celebrating when Trump got shot. Speaking of college campus, yep, I mean, to be fair, he was speaking at a college campus, and he was very effective, so obviously killing him would be a very effective way to, end the Trump regime. Trying to run over an officer? No, that's completely unacceptable because of First Amendment rights. She literally had freedom of speech when she tried to run over an officer. Pulling a gun on an officer, he was literally just filming and trying to help, all right? He was literally just filming on the sidewalk and trying to help. Unbelievable, bro. No, you shot me instead of letting me kill you. No, how could you do such a thing? All right, so here's a list of things we can no longer do in 2026 because of Orange Hitler and his Gestapo. Try to run over a cop and try to shoot a cop. These are things that we can no longer do in Trump's America. In Trump's America, we can't even run over cops anymore, dog. What is even happening?
Yeah, it's horrible. I mean, what are cops for if not to run them over?
Despite carrying out thousands of operations
and hope he doesn't get a shot off, of course.
One was armed with a shovel, two weaponized their vehicles. Not a single person has been shot for holding a sign and protesting.
Yeah.
It's almost like this isn't fascism.
Yeah, nobody is being shot for protesting. They're literally only being shot if they get in a altercation, if they start wrestling with the cop, try to bump them with their car, or attack them with a shovel and have two friends or strangers come out of the building that they're trying to get into and also attack said cop. And that guy didn't even die. He got shot in the leg. You just can't win.
It's almost like human beings are making split-second judgment calls, some of which are right, some of which are unfortunately wrong, and it's done because absolute retards are desperately trying to die as martyrs for their libtarded cause. Of course, the left does their absolute best to try to blame everybody. Not an exaggeration to say Nick Shirley shares responsibility for 2 execution-style murders.
What?
Quite literally, this might be the biggest exaggeration in the history of time. A kid with a camera exposing Somalis committing fraud in Minnesota is at fault.
Yeah, people blaming Nick Shirley for trying to expose fraud caused by the government and a percentage of the Somali community, but more in there, the government for allowing however many, I think it's $9 billion worth in fraud. They're blaming him for these 2 execution-style murderers. I'm throwing air quotes there, by the way.
for people trying to murder ICE agents and finding out? Like what are we even doing? So the same administration that venerates Kyle Rittenhouse, who showed up to a protest like this. It's like, yo!
He didn't show up to protest. He was not there to protest. He was there to defend his friend's dad's property. I can't remember what the business was, but that's what he was there for. And he was there with a first aid kit to assist, and he did assist several protesters who were calling him a fascist while he was mending them.
You're so right. See, I'm a leftist, and I see one very slight similarity between these two completely different cases, and therefore, I am going to call you a hypocrite. This is leftoid debate tactic 101. This guy had a gun and crossed state lines. This guy had a gun and crossed state lines.
He didn't cross state lines, okay? The gun was in state lines. Whether he got it from his dad or got it from his friend's dad, it was there in town. Anyone who lives in a border city, especially if it's the biggest city within X amount of miles, knows this. People from the smaller towns go to the big cities to work. Kenosha's a fairly big town. I know I'm repeating myself, but it came up in the video. Fuck off.
They both showed up at protests, so it's literally the same thing. Who cares if the reason why this guy had a gun was very likely to massacre ICE agents, and the reason why this guy had a gun was quite literally to protect himself as he died?
And again, Kyle Rittenhouse showed the most. He was very aware. He only shot people who actively attacked him. One guy grabbed the barrel of his gun and was saying, "I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm gonna fucking kill you," like for hours. Called him the N-word a bunch. But the funny part is, a lot of you who think that Kyle Rittenhouse should have gone to jail also think he gunned down 3 black people in cold blood. All 3 people were white. He only killed 2 people. The one who he shot his forearm off pulled the gun up. Kyle pulled the gun up, aimed it at him. The guy put his hands up. Kyle didn't shoot him. Dude came over here, gonna belt him in the head with a skateboard. Pulled up, shot him. Then the dude who he didn't shoot the first time pulled his gun up again to shoot Kyle Rittenhouse. And then he shot him in the forearm. It was the most baller shot in the world. Didn't kill him. Definitely fucked up his weekend, especially if that's his masturbating hand. Sorry, that's terrible. But yeah, that guy's still alive, and he's to this day says, "I wish I had killed that motherfucker." What is even happening?
Demonstrated. Who cares if the difference is that Kyle Rittenhouse turned himself into the police and didn't arrest, which is why, he is alive.
Yeah, he didn't. He turned himself in and didn't resist arrest. He tried to turn himself in that night, but the police just drove right by him. He later went and turned himself in. Yeah, after he got back with his parents and they said, "Oh, son, we're seeing all this stuff. You need to go to the cops right now."
To these absolute idiots, these absolute morons, reality is irrelevant. Reality doesn't actually matter. In the consequentialist void worldview of the leftoid retard, these are both 2 guys that had guns, therefore, same case. It's like actually unreal that we're living in a reality that we're sharing with these guys. So of course, Minneapolis, once again, they're trying to make all theatric out of this. Because of this shooting, they're all boarding up the windows of their shops. Why? Literally why? This is literally, they're just trying to enshittificate their city. There is no other explanation other than them literally trying to make their city shittier.
How you doing, Mikey? Good. I'm not a move this time.
I mean, I'd board up my shit too if I lived in one of these cities.
Yep. That's the left. Like, there's some sort of mass panic of ICE agents breaking into Aldi's in the middle of the night. The leading conservative influencer in the country got shot in the neck in front of the entire country, and 0 businesses boarded up. This is absolute and insane clown world. It's like everyone knows the left is violent. Everyone knows that the leftist riots are unbelievably destructive. Everyone knows that the left is a borderline terrorist organization. And everyone's living in the delusional reality that it's like a both sides situation, which it quite literally is not. As far as I'm concerned, every single illegal alien in this country that's killing people is a leftist issue. Every single over-medicated trans mass shooter is a leftist issue. Every violent repeat offender released again and again and again by woke judges that ends up murdering someone is a leftist issue. There are no riots, there are no protests, there's no buildings being burnt down because of any of this. There's calls for change. There's people that came together to vote for Donald Trump to be the president, to deport the illegal aliens, solve one problem at a time, and the left cannot fucking deal with the fact that they lost the election. They hate democracy. They're quite literally fascists. And this guy, this retard that committed suicide by cop, they killed a fascist on that day. Ironically, that guy was more similar to a Nazi than any ICE agent I could think of. Again, not saying that that justifies his murder. But this is quite literally a radical, violent socialist that does not believe in elections. So, to wrap things up, Donald Trump is sending the National Guard to Minneapolis. This is gonna get hairy.
Oh, fuck.
I say invoke the Insurrection Act. I think that every single one of these leftoid...
I don't know if Hoops Crave is a reliable source, but... oh, boy. Here we go. I mean, it's worked in other places. It worked in D.C. It worked in Memphis. Memphis is one of the wildest cities that I've ever been to. And I'll probably not ever go to again. But I got friends who moved there recently from where I'm at, and then are fixing to move back because it's just too crazy there. Even after, Trump's in whatever, calmed it down, they're still moving here just because it's less wild here than it is there. That's crazy.
Politicians that are making it sound even remotely valid to obstruct ICE officers should be charged with obstruction of justice themselves, leading an insurrection themselves, inciting violence themselves, or quite literally, at the very least, being removed from office. So yeah, I'm sure people are going to come away from this video saying that either Nux is pro this killing or anti this killing as an individual level. And quite literally, everyone's retarded. There's nuance to every situation.
100%
While I
there's
don't
nuance.
think it was appropriate for the ICE officer to kill this guy at that time, I am open to the fact that maybe it was happening because he made a split-second decision during the fog of war. He didn't know when his life was actually threatened. I do not know the reality of what was going on in his mind, but I do know that this was a suicide by cop.
Yes.
That this was a guy completely retarded that made multiple decisions, every single one of them illegal, that got him to this point where he died. Many, many stupid decisions that this retard made that ended up with this guy dead. And I also know that the left is thrilled whenever this happens. They will join hands and sing Kumbaya. Now, to be clear, I don't think that everyone on the left does this. All right, this isn't me blaming every single leftist. I do think the leftist politicians like Ilhan Omar, Tim Walz, AOC, I think that they are all for this idea of using these people as human shields. I think that so is Hassan Piker. I don't think Moist Critical's like that. For example, I just think that he saw this one instance and
he's got sucked
could
in.
not comprehend the fact that the lead up to this instance is the fact that, the left lost an election. So, there's so many shades of gray in every situation, and that's why you watch me. That's why you watch me. Long-form content where I overanalyze situations and make everyone unhappy. I quite literally don't care if you agree or disagree. You'll just get the truth, though. More of them will probably die.
Probably.
And it will probably be their own fault.
Yeah. It'll be sad.
Leftists will continue glazing the terrorists and the criminals because that's quite literally what they seem to be these days. Rip. Rip. He died doing what he loved the most, trying to prevent rapists and pedophiles in the annals of leftoid history, where, thank God he was killed by an ICE agent, because if he was killed by an illegal alien or, some disheveled repeat offender on a train, quite literally, they would not give a single fuck that you were killed. So, it's a good thing you died like a retard, or else they literally would not care about you at all.
Holy crap.
I'm sad it happened. Hope your family finds some sort of peace. Honestly, a tragedy. Tragic that so many unbearably...
Okay, so he's just going on about that. So...
Hello, hi.
Real quick.
My name is Nazir Ahmed. I am 23 years old.
So, if those of you who don't know, this is the Bananas and Rice girl. This is the girl who said that she got arrested and they threw out racial slurs at her. We're not going to watch this whole bit because it's 30 minutes long and it's already almost a 2-hour video. But we're going to catch some highlights.
And I encountered ICE. I was detained, or let me rephrase it as I was kidnapped by ICE.
Kidnapped by ICE. They say this. Kidnapped by ICE.
Came here, right there where I'm pointing at, and they came here, were following 2 men, and while they were following 2 men, they came and stopped at this exact area near the office.
This girl's painful to listen to, so I'm going to fast forward right here.
Wait. So we got to talk about this going.
So that story is, I got kidnapped by ICE. So ICE came to my neighborhood where my neighborhood.
And I understand a lot of this is her being nervous or whatever, but my God, you guys think that I'm long-winded? Please.
It already sounds like bullshit.
Yeah. No, it 100% does.
They arrested and detained me for 2 days, and I was put in county jail. Then there was this ICE agent who called me a racial slur. So, they were out of their
out, struck ICE.
Hold on. It's got to be in here.
Camp for Native Americans.
Okay, the place that they took her was a concentration camp for Native Americans, apparently. She's throwing that in there because concentration camps, Trump's Gestapo, it's all the same. It's all connected.
And they were actually it was this Native American place where they detained, the concentration camp. She was also detained by ICE, and she was also a U.S. citizen.
You need to stop talking. Right?
Yeah, and that's what this is.
This video tells a different story.
Okay, so here's the actual video.
You guys tell me if you guys believe this woman's story about what happened and all the details that she left out. So again, this is the alleged video of what happened here. Okay, this is allegedly the video of her. So let's play this.
Like right there, she spits or throws something at him. Then they're like, hey, don't do that.
I don't see all the violence that she claimed happened, right? I don't really see them roughing her up like that, okay? This is her. This is her.
This is like when AOC said that she was getting arrested, but she had no handcuffs, but she was walking in front of cops like she was arrested.
What's so violent about this, right? It looks like they treated her pretty well. What happened? Now, what we did see, and I'm going to show you guys this, because they don't mention this. Pay attention here. Watch this. This is her. It looked like she tried to spit on the ICE agent.
She spit on him or threw something at him, but there's definitely a reaction to her jutting motion. But anyway.
Pay attention to the language here.
Very Somali neighborhood. It's a predominantly Somali neighborhood. There's many Somalis that live here, and they kidnapped me. They took me. They arrested and detained me for 2 days, and I was put in county jail.
Right? So that
I experienced a lot of things. I'm also Somali, and I'm gonna say right now that even though people see me as Somali, I'm still a.
This is where she starts going. I'm just gonna play this bit, and then I'll give my conclusion. I'll be done, I promise. But this is hilarious.
Black person, and I can't separate the two. My skin is still dark. I'm still a black person.
This guy's like, what the fuck is she talking about?
I'm just the black person of Somali descent. My ethnic origin is Somali, but I'm black. I'm a person who's black under America. So
under America.
I still experience racism. I still experience many things that black Americans face, and the two cannot. The two can exist, and many people don't really realize that, because what they see is so Somalis that can be black and they can't be, Somali.
He's like, this bitch going off script.
So, so I was called a racial slur by this.
She's doing it again. Why is she saying this?
Igniting racial violence towards me. He was inciting racial violence, and he was targeting these two Somali men. They were following these two Somali men who ran out the car, and when they ran out the car, what happened was I was walking towards that area that these two men were holding.
Hold on.
What I've seen is that they were Somali for these two men to hold the door for me, and I told them, hey, can you hold the door for me? And they came out of their car. They just decided it was nice to be racist and say really nasty things to me. And that man.
Something tells me that's not what happened.
He called me the N-word, and I'm going to say it's the book the word that's in the To Kill a Mockingbird. If you've ever read that book.
Okay, she's bringing up random books.
And he called me that, and then he arrested me.
You mean the same word that black people say every day, right?
N-word book. Okay. Hold on. That wasn't the part.
That was healing while I was in jail.
It's still healing. That's why you're wearing the bandage.
They pushed me hard. They used a lot of violence. My body still hurts. I got a concussion. It's really hard for me to speak because of that concussion.
That's why it's hard for you to speak, not because you're a
They
retard.
were just using a lot of force to arrest me. And
As we saw from the video.
I was crying. I was so scared. I've like never been arrested in my life. Or during the detainment center is Woodville. It's in Fort Snelling for Native. This
Hold on.
Hopefully, I'm getting my facts correct, but that man was a bishop who actually spoke for Native Americans. And I'll never forget.
Hold on.
Like the fear that we both felt in our hearts. That
What this whole back up talking too much.
That to say.
Okay.
Hold on. Sorry, there's this one part where she just goes off on bananas and rice.
As if that to straight level.
for both. So, in here today. But yeah, so,
shit. Go ahead. Head
in jail.
With the details and agent to get to that.
You know what? Hold on. Damn it. I'm sorry. Okay, people are calling her Jessie Somaliette. Yes, I get that.
So I'm Somali. I'm proud to. It's an interesting.
What is happening?
So I'm Somali. I'm proud to be Somali. To me, being Somali isn't just eating bananas with rice. It's a lot. It's like it's
Okay, so this is before the other video.
It's very hard to describe what it means to be Somali. And
This is all because of the concussion. She has the band-aid to show she has a concussion.
Cultural fusion. It's kind of like the bananas and rice. You know,
It's not all bananas and rice, but it's kind of like bananas and rice.
Bananas with rice, but that's what it's like to be Somali and American. It's like that combination of banana and rice, but you're gonna get what I mean. Hello.
Are we?
I'm very grateful to have deciding me in cities. Both are well-known Somali communities. It's a lot. It's like see, like, you know, it's you know, people don't think, oh, you can eat bananas with rice, but that's what it's like to be Somali. And people might be confused by me being Somali, but then when they hear my voice, they say, this girl is very American. There's something
Retarded is the word. Retarded.
American about her. So, like my family says, you're so American. You're so American. There's something American about you. But then when other people see me, they're like, there's something Somali about you.
Okay, that was horribly painful. But yeah, this is Jessie Somaliette making up a story. There's video that shows otherwise. But I just wanted to show that at the end here to kind of lighten the mood. My head hurts. I think I might need to lie down. But I just want to thank everyone for showing up. Look, at the end of the day, you're going to hear a lot of shit. Okay, a lot of these people just either... And I've always said, if you're completely all for Trump and everything that he ever does, no matter what, or you're completely against Trump, no matter what he says or does, whether it's good or bad, you're a sheep, and there's really no talking to you. I'm still going to try, but I will also call you a retard when you do retarded things. But look, just when things like this happen, look for the facts. Don't trust because, I don't know, some girl who's hot thinks something, or because your friends think this or that. If they're right, they're right. If they're wrong, they're wrong. Watch the videos, make your own mind up before you go getting all pissed off or possibly even putting yourself into harm's way for something that may or may not even have happened, let alone the way that they said. But that's all from me today, guys. Thank you for sticking with me. I love all the people who have stuck through this. I'm sure it's been different people, but we've had a good solid amount of people here the whole time. But yeah, that's all for today. We'll see you tomorrow morning. There might be some more news come out about this, but we'll save that for tomorrow morning. Yeah, I've been Alfie Animus. This is the Associated Guess. And yeah, have a good one. Be safe out there if you're in the South.